All right, week 1, day 4, we have got 3 vocabulary words. First one is manipulate. The advanced definition for manipulate is a transitive verb. Definition 1 is to handle or operate skillfully with the hands. Do you know how to manipulate the controls? He manipulated the clay to form a tiny sculpture. Definition number 2, to manage, influence, or use skillfully to achieve a desired end. The parents manipulated their son into marrying this woman so that they could establish ties with her wealthy family. Definition number 3, to tamper with or adjust to one's own advantage, especially by devious means. He manipulated the figures in his report to make it appear more impressive. The Spanish cognate, manipular. The Spanish word manipular means manipulate. All right, here's some examples of the word or forms of the word as they are used. Genetic engineering is a process of manipulating an organism's deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA. James tweaked A. aegypti by adding some extra genes to its DNA. Number 2, a pseudo-thumb is not a finger, but a bony extension of one of the wrist bones. It assists the panda in grasping and manipulating bamboo stalks. There's that polydactyly we talked about being a dominant trait. Number 3, in many cases, humans influence the Earth's natural processes on purpose, speeding them up, slowing them down, or manipulating them in other ways to get something we want, usually a natural resource like water or oil. All right, vocabulary word number 2, regulation. Definition as a noun is a rule or law that controls or directs people's actions. When you build a house, we have to follow your city's rules and regulations. Advanced definition as a noun, a principle, a rule, or a law designed to regulate behavior or conduct. Fire department regulations require public buildings to be equipped with sprinklers. The school regulations prohibit students from wearing shirts with offensive language. Definition number 2, the act or process of regulating. Is the government's regulation of these industries helping to improve the environment? All right, advanced definition as an adjective. Number 1, conforming to a rule or order. She wore the regulation uniform of an army nurse. The Spanish cognate, regulación. The Spanish word regulación means regulation. These are some examples of how the word or forms of the word are used. Number 1, but theater regulations of the time prevented women from acting, writing, producing, or being associated with theater work in any other way. Number 2, well before he stepped off the boat onto the new land, he could smell the sewage and rot of the country that wasn't under any kind of proper rule and regulation. Number 3, national and international regulations emerged to help regulate the labor and trade of other crops, such as coffee and tea. Cocoa joined the list of commodities that could be fair trade. All right, and the last one is resistance. The advanced definition as a noun, number 1, is the act or process of opposing or striving against. In the example, the proposal to tear down the old library was met with resistance from the community. Definition number 2, the opposition posed by one force against another. Your example, vitamins help your body resistant to disease. Number 3, an underground organization, as in France during World War II, that struggles against an occupying military power, such as by sabotage and guerrilla warfare. All right, so here's an example. During World War II, the French resistance fought against the German army that was occupying France. Number 4, the characteristic of an electrical conductor that opposes the flow of current and transforms some of it into heat. All right, your Spanish cognate, resistencia. The Spanish word resistencia means resistance. Don't laugh at my Spanish, I'm trying. These are some examples of how the word or forms of the word are used. Number 1. When geologists study rocks, they often use the Mohs scale of mineral hardness. This scale allows us to characterize the scratch resistance of various minerals. A diamond is described as hard because it is extremely difficult to scratch. Scientists can measure hardness with the Mohs scale and compare minerals to other minerals. Number 2. When you swim, you're working against the resistance or pressure of water. The resistance is about 800 times more than that of air. This means that it takes much more effort to do an exercise in the water than on land. As your muscles work to pull you through the water, they get stronger and firmer. Number 3. You also have to exercise against resistance to get definition. You've got to get the muscle to grow a bit to create separation between the muscles and the tendons around it, Kimona says. So if you really want a six-pack, consider holding a medicine ball to your chest during your crunches. Increase the weight over a period of weeks to sculpt your abs. So by the end of all this, y'all gonna have six-packs. Just kidding. Number 4. Unfortunately, insecticides can harm other organisms, including beneficial insects. And mosquitoes can develop a resistance to them over time. All right, there's your vocabulary. See you for questions.